Hello, everyone. Welcome to Telling Tales. Welcome to Hell Night. Which is confusing because it's daytime, but there we go. This is our August monthly one-shot here on the channel. We hope you're excited to join us for a Doom Biker role-playing game. Look at that. Look at this lovely item. Look at this lovely punk TTRPG goodness. Yeah. Before we start bringing on players and talking about the system and various things like that, quickly, I want to get some promo out of the way. If you check down below this stream, you will find a number of links. You'll find links to YouTube and to Twitch. We stream on Twitch, and then all of our streams end up on YouTube. Crazy how that works, like it does for everyone else on the planet. There's also links to our social media, to our Discord, and our Patreon. If those are things that interest you, take a look at them. See what you think. We currently run... well, technically, I'll just go through what's usually on. Mondays is usually Vason here, but they're taking a bit of a break at the moment, and we're back part way through September. Wednesdays is Simbroom, our kind of long-running flagship campaign. Thursdays, we've just finished our World of Darkness anthology series, the Cincinnati Chronicles, and pretty soon the mantle of Thursdays will be taken up by Wicked Ones, which Sam is going to be running, and then also the return of the Big Wet to finalize our apocalyptic mini-series from Pierre. So there's all sorts of stuff going on, and obviously we do monthly one-shots just like this. The next one in September is probably going to be Johnny running the third of his Space Age Call of Cthulhu stories, so that's something to look forward to as well if you like your stuff creepy and slightly sci-fi. There we go. So that's it. That's the promo. That's everything. I suppose I have to do some work now. Okay, let's start by... I think we're just going to bring everyone on. I think we're just straight up bring everyone on. Look, we've got a Justin. We've got a John. We've got an Inga. We've got a Steve. We've got all these people. Look at this. What a treat. Now, what is Hell Night? Hell Night, as I said, is a Doom Biker TTRPG. The premise is that Satan has left hell, and as a result, lots of devils and demons have also left hell, traveling through limbo to Earth to do horrible, horrible, wicked things in a retro 80s Earth setting. Heaven's not too happy about this and have basically threatened to kick the absolute living shit out of the inhabitants of hell unless they deal with their garbage. As a result, groups of demons are sent on the back of their hell rides to Earth in order to deal with these wayward, errant, infernal creatures. And yeah, that's the whole premise of Hell Night, and that will become very apparent as we move into the story. It feels weird that I'm the only one who's talked, and yet they've all been on screen for a good couple of minutes now. Just say hello, everyone. Say hi.
Hello, everyone.
Lovely. Great stuff. Oh, we're overflowing with charisma today. We've already got a comment I want to show here. 42, the devil had a midlife crisis and bought a bike. Yeah, only all the devils did. Okay, there we go. So, without much further ado, we'll introduce the rules and stuff as we're going on, and like the setting will kind of unfold, but really there's not much more to it than what I've just described. As I said, Hell Night is a bit of an art punk TTRPG, so it's all pretty fast and loose and kind of lots and lots of style over, not over substance as in the nice crunchy stuff isn't there, but more that it's like you're meant to go with the flow with it a bit, right? So with that in mind, let's just straight kick off, and we're going to kick off with the scene of hell, a rambling, awful wasteland of fire and ice and horror. And specifically, we will zoom in on this to a large, incredibly impressive hall, a vast cathedral decorated entirely with human skin. And as we sort of close in on this and close in on the vast stone doors that are thrown open with weeping faces, wailing and shouting strung on them for the rest of time, there is a noise from inside this cathedral of skin, and that noise is engines revving. And then pouring out of the front of this cathedral of skin, 4 vehicles, 3 of them leading the way on terrifying semi-sentient bioorganic motorbikes, hell rides, and another in the rear, perhaps more conservatively, in a pollution-spewing 4x4. And these are our characters. Let's start with some description from each of them, shall we? And you can talk about kind of what your demon does and kind of what they are a little bit and their appearance, and then we can get a good impression of that. And we're going to start with that from Justin, please.
So Tal is truly a demon. They're a slayer demon that cut their teeth fighting heaven in the wars before. They have a huge ox head on top of a classic 80s biker look with a leather jacket and jeans and thick steel toe work boots. On their back, a huge Zweihander sword. Somehow it's also on this motorbike that is a kind of black Harley with red flames, I guess, painted on it. But are they painted? Do they really spout from the exhaust of this of Little Behemoth, the bike? Right. Truly, this is a demon of some, and they're just huge. How they fit on this bike, or is the bike bigger than it's supposed to be? No one knows.
Maybe a bit of both. Maybe a bit of both. So something else I should mention about Hell Knight is that each story you tell in Hell Knight needs to have an anthem, preferably an anthem of either embarrassing or kick-ass or both 80s metal. And ours is no exception. I will put our anthem in chat, so feel free to just have this on repeat for the entire stream. Don't do that, it will drive you mad. But either way, there we go. There is the song for this tale. If anyone knows why I picked this one and where I might have grabbed it from, if you let us know in chat, I will give you a gift. That gift will be my respect and nothing else. But that has value, right?
I mean, I've never earned it.
Exactly. You see, you can live better than Justin. So as you speed away from the Cathedral of Skin, you soar across the landscape of hell, sending rock and stone and dust kind of flaring up behind the wheels of your hell rides in a fountain of infernal earth. In the sort of near distance from where you are, there's the biggest stack of marshals you've ever seen. It teeters larger and with more volumetric menace than God himself could ever conceive. With a terrible realization, the music from it hits you all at once. All 80s power ballads, all the time. John, can you describe your character for me, please?
Starbrother is not quite the same as these infernal creatures that he is traveling with. He is formerly and still, he insists, of the angels, though cast out to do God's work in a different way, obviously. He is the one driving the 4x4. It is like a vintage, like old army jeep that has been spray painted with just like a horrible, like, the cliched 80s spray paint. Like there's a moon, there's a wolf, there might be a unicorn somewhere on there. It's slightly anachronistic for hell, but it's also
a mostly naked angel.
Yes.
Yeah.
He wears a leather waistcoat, needlessly complicated utility belt, a red and white t-shirt that might be tie-dye or it might be bloodstains. It's probably not polite to ask. and a motorcycle helmet that is painted with stars and galaxies along the top, and has a bullet hole just above the left temple. And he
Excellent.
is also, because his Jeep is just a Jeep, he is in fact being towed by chains behind the other 3 Hell Riders at a safe distance.
Sure, absolutely. And as you are towed forwards, the music from the Cyclopean martial stacks blares, and as if an echo of that from the dark skies of hell above begins a jaw-dropping, skull-faced, godless thunderstorm. I would like each of you who is carrying anything metal. Your vehicles don't have to count for this, but if you have anything, like probably a weapon, right, that's metal on you of any kind, I need you to roll a d6. Justin got a 5. 3.
6.
I got a 6.
6.
6.
Well, then none of you rolled a 1.
Oh, good.
So none of you are taking 2d6 damage from a lightning strike, which would very much threaten to kill any one of you, I think.
Cool.
Instead, the lightning is kind of slamming down into the ground of hell around you. A cacophony that barely does anything to fight off the kind of audio assault of Heart and the Bangles played at colossal, incredible, head-crunching volume. As you weave through this thunderstorm, Steve, could you tell us about your character, please?
Sure. So Elias Brown is a Reaper, which means that he is a warlock several hundred years past his prior expiration date, and he is a soul hunter. So his duty in hell is to reclaim souls that are wayward souls that need shepherding back to their proper place. Elias is dressed head to toe in sort of a wreath of cloaks, a cloak and robes, all pitch black, hooded, and with a plague doctor mask on his face, so he looks rather like a raven. And his hell ride is probably sort of a little bit like a classic Harley Davidson, but somewhat larger, and the sections that might appear chrome at a distance are probably wet bone, and radiators of ribs and things like that. So it's yes.
Nice. What is
Cool.
the name of your hell ride?
Oh, Night Stalker.
Badass. Nice. So as you all race forward slowly, the landscape of hell gives way to that of limbo, and the part of limbo that you found yourself in is a dead forest inhabited by ineffable horrors. All the vegetation is withering on the vine. Beasts of burden lie decomposing in rancid splendor. The parched earth is riven with cracks that seem to endlessly thirst, and something beneath you gnaws relentlessly. And as your hell rides slalom between these huge dead trees, Inga, why don't you tell us about Brett?
Brett is a revenant, so is accompanied not just on the hell ride, but is also accompanied by his ever watchful guardian, a flamboyant apocalyptic iguana, keeping an eye on me, which is probably the most colourful thing on here. Otherwise, lots of blacks and deep maroons, probably a bit more like reserved's not quite the right word, but a bit more generally in the blurring into the background, sort of as a general kind of vibe, I guess. Brett's was once upon a time a special ops agent who was seriously implicated in the deaths of a few third world nations' presidents. I'm gonna his hell ride is called the Beast. I did roll for this for lots of these things randomly, and the description there is a savage smoking tricycle. And I'm assuming that is a tricycle motorbike, not like a little like learning to ride a bike for the first time.
Yeah, like a motor trike, not
yeah.
like
Brett's just pedaling as hard as he can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that I'm against that as a TTRPG thing, but maybe not quite the vibe Hell Knight is going for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the words smoking, savage, and tricycle together were hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm assuming that is like a motor trike rather than.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Although the fact that you're on a trike eliminates the possibility of the iguana having a sidecar, sadly. But I guess you can have a little raised bit at the back. I don't know.
Technically, my imp that accompanies me is supposed to have a sidecar. Whether or not, I mean, you know what? I think I can pull it off. I think Tal is so much of a badass demon that the sidecar still looks cool.
Sure. I'm sorry, you're implying that sidecars don't normally look cool?
I mean, you know what? I was wrong. You know, that's a me problem, not a sidecar problem.
Sure. So yeah, it's worth mentioning. Yeah, Tal has a little blue imp, right? That
Called a Thidium.
That keeps you company. Yeah, great. As you are all racing through the forest of Limbo, there is a flare somewhere off to your left, a blinding light that alerts you to the presence of a celestial. If you glance over in that direction, you can see the hulking, many-limbed, many-angled form of this celestial being hurrying through the trees of Limbo. It's up to you if you want to get involved with this celestial. Technically speaking, you know, Limbo is where both infernals and celestials are permitted to wander. But at the same time, obviously, I don't know if you're... there's a little bit of a grudge between the two, you know, the two kind of places of heaven and hell. It's entirely possible the celestial would rip you limb from limb, and you do have somewhere you've got to be. But it's entirely up to you if you ignore this and move on, or you know, investigate further, attack the celestial fruitlessly, and be chopped apart by a vast flaming sword. It's up to you.
I mean, clearly it's here doing something important, so
Best not to.
Yeah. It's all part of the plan.
I think Guardian is I and me like stay on track.
Yeah. So Elias definitely wants no truck with any form of divine being. So
absolutely. Fair enough. Well, then, the Hellrides roar forward, dragging the Jeep behind them until in front of you a huge twisted tree opens up to reveal a deep tunnel where time and space cease to exist. You roar through there for what feels like millennia until ahead of you a soft light grows, not a really bright one, but certainly more light than the void you're passing through. And then you are roaring through it, out from an abandoned tunnel stretching from a city sewer system. A strange electrified atmosphere is all around you, sparking off your hell rides, your weapons, your helmets, until you come to more of a rest in a rather barren stretch of land. You can see ahead of you a long, wide road, and over somewhere in the middle distance is neon in 1,000 colors, towers of glass and steel, and the foul haze of light and pollution drifting up towards uncaring stars. A human city, and quite an unusual looking one at that. Ahead of you, There is a crow pecking at the top of a fence post with tangled barbed wire strung from it like a thorn bush. A rolled up scroll is pinned to the fence post with what looks like a sharpened human finger bone.
Well, I guess the first decision is which of us is going to take this.
Well,
This
I
note.
guess Tao will skid to a halt about a meter or two from the note, dismount, and pluck the note from the where it's posted to.
Absolutely. As you do so, the crow kind of like caws at you wretchedly and kind of takes a flight off into the darkened night. The scroll, once unfurled, simply says, "The abomination of innocence whirling round the dazzling spectacle." And it's worth. This is essentially, you've got a boss. This boss has sent you here to deal with an Archon. This is probably the closest you're going to get to, a briefing.
So that was the abomination of innocence whirls around
The dazzling spectacle.
I'll hand the note to my imp, who will then distribute it to whoever wants to read it.
Sure, let's have the imp kind of like scamper along the ground and then up on the hell ride to Brett Jackson and kind of proffer it with a kind of noise.
Indeed.
Brett will have a little read of it and shove it in front of the Guardian. Does this mean anything to you?
God, now I have to come up with a personality for the iguana.
like we don't want a Disney iguana. Like we don't want to go.
No,
we
exactly.
need something that's serious.
You know what? I'm going to say, because you said the iguana has an amazing singing voice and can recall all the lyrics to basically any 80s metal song. And you know what? That's the only time you hear the iguana's voice. In all of the things that the iguana looks at you and instills you with a deep sense that, yeah, we should probably get on with this. But I've got no idea. But crucially, he doesn't have a voice I have to put on.
Cool. Convenient and cool.
Until he ends up singing, and then I'm fucked.
All right, so what was the note again? Sorry, it was something about innocence swirling around the dazzling spectacle. Sorry, what was this?
Yeah, the abomination of innocence whirls around the dazzling spectacle.
The abomination of innocence.
And yeah, the road near you, it leads only one way out of the desert and into the city. There is nothing else around.
I can get back on my bike and rev.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming we'll be heading towards the city then. But like, if you think about things like words like dazzling and spectacle, is there other then? I mean, does it look like a particularly dazzling city? Is it that lights shining and things?
It definitely does. As I said, there's neon in 1,000 colors. There's high towers and other more oddly shaped buildings of glass and steel. It's a very bright thing on the horizon in this vastness of flat, kind of dusty emptiness.
On we go then.
Yeah.
I'll point up at the city. Back on the bike.
Fair enough. You all mount up and set off as you rev around this fence post and off towards the lights on the horizon. You pass a coyote crushed literally like a pancake, round and almost flat. And then there's nothing but the screech of your wheels and the smell of rubber as you tear along the road until about an hour later, you arrive on the outskirts of this city. Probably not an hour later if we're thinking about how fast motorbikes go and that you're certainly not respecting the speed limit. A time later, you arrive on the outskirts of the city. You're in an area that's clearly seen better days, quite tumble down. You see a lot of abandoned buildings. As you round the corner, ahead of you, there is what seems to be a biker bar called Hog Heaven. Outside it, a bunch of bikers are yelling at and pushing at a group of punk kids with elaborately greased up and coloured hair, all of whom have violently neon-coloured bandanas tied around one arm. A couple of the punks are waving flick knives. It seems a somewhat volatile situation. And as you sort of take this in, a battered old phone booth just next to where you've kind of brought your hell rides to a purring halt starts to ring. A very loud, strident, annoying ring.
I will dismount and go over to the phone and pick it up.
Sure. You hear several clicks and then a noise that sounds slightly like the sort of echolalia of, a bad connection, a hiss, or it could be the wailing of 1,000 tormented souls. You're not entirely sure. And a voice you recognize, a voice speaking from 100 fanged mouths at once, says, "Everyone needs a friend, even those spat out of the pit. The master's disorder will lead the way." Click.
I will put the phone down and recite this to the rest of the gang.
Oh, was it the masters? What will lead the way?
Everyone needs a friend, even those spat out of the pit. The master's disorder will lead the way.
But my inability to remember a sentence from like a moment ago bodes really well for any rituals that might come up later.
Given
We're outside a bar,
their
right?
mechanic. You are outside a bar. It's called it is called Hog Heaven.
I'm gonna dismount and head to the bar, which may cause a spectacle given that I have an ox's head. I don't care, but I don't know. Who knows?
I mean, it's I mean, unless you want everyone in the world to run, fleeing, or attack you, you probably want to have some kind of helmet on most of the time, or perhaps your head looks like a helmet.
I mean, I don't know what. I mean, let's go with a helmet. I'm not sure what this helmet will look like. I mean, it's gonna be obscene.
I mean, might look like a big ox head, but the horns coming through it are actually yours.
Yeah. That's
it's a wonderful custom job,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, okay, with that in mind, is everyone sort of maybe approaching the bar in this scuffle that's starting outside it?
I think I'm tempted to see what happens with potential fight. Hanging back to keep an eye on that.
Fair enough.
I think I will take a moment to unhitch my Jeep from, well, at least from my end of the towing chains.
I think once you reached Earth physics, you had to do that almost immediately.
That's fine.
Yeah.
In that case, I will follow Tal.
Okay, Elias?
I guess I'll be keeping an eye on this sort of emerging situation with the bikers hanging back a bit, because I know that I look somewhat odd, and there is the pronounced stench of sulfur in my immediate presence, maybe tinged with a slight smell of sort of charred flesh. So, yeah, I don't want to draw undue attention to myself.
Sure. I mean, this is a biker bar, so there will be smells. But let's have our first rolls of the game, shall we? So if Starbrother and Taltal are walking towards this biker bar, let's have a brains roll from both of those, shall I? So the way rolls work in this game, players have a stat between. Does everything start at 5?
Starts at 5.
Everything starts at 5. So they have a stat. All their 3 stats between 5 and 11. And they roll 2d6, and what they want to do, it's like blackjack, right? They want to hit their stat without going over. So the higher the better, until it's too high. There are a number of other things to do with rolling a double 1 or a double 6 causes a complication. If you roll an 8 or higher and it is a success, it's a critical success, and there are difficulty modifiers as well. That's basically it. So I'll ask for a brains roll from both of you, and you know what, though? I'll give you both a +1 on it.
Cool.
Because you've just heard a clue, and it's linked to that.
I have 5 in brains, and I rolled 7.
Mm-hmm.
So even with the +1, I still don't pass.
Fair enough.
So the +1 applies to my cap, right?
To your stat, yeah.
To my stat, yes. I rolled 7, target of 9, so I succeed.
You succeed. In that case, Starbrother, as you're walking forward, you notice obviously all the bikers are in the same bike gang, as you might expect, all together at a bar as they're sort of scuffling with these punks. They're all wearing vests with like a sort of quite elaborate kind of painting on the back. And the painting shows, bikes, roses, skulls, things along these matters you might expect a biker gang to have. And over it is the name of their gang, which is Satan's Riot.
Okay.
Taltal is kind of looking around for any clues, not seeing any.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give Taltal a nudge and point out.
Taltal's reaction to you touching him is bad, or it is bad. Like Taltal's hand goes to his huge Zweihander, and you hear the bull like snorting under the visor.
Starbrother does not care. I'll point out the jackets. Was it Satan's Riot?
Mm-hmm.
The Master's Disorder?
Taltal's looking for clues. Am I going to listen to some fallen angel?
Yeah, that's fair. I think I'm just I think I'm going to approach these switchblade wielding biker punks.
Well, there are bikers and switchblade wielding punks who are scuffling with each other.
Right. In that case, I will stay and watch the fight and see who remains alive.
Okay.
Is it an active fight already? Like
no, but
they were sort of like they were. Yeah, okay.
It's gearing up to one. Yeah.
But everyone needs a friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially Satan's Riot. Are we?
Yeah.
I'm basically waiting for the first whiff of blood.
Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna approach the bikers.
I mean, you have to approach both of them because they're
Okay.
scuffling with each other. But I just want to make it clear that there are bikers and there are punks.
Yes.
There are bikers
Right.
and punks, and they're different people, right?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
suspect we might have to.
You guys are gonna have to
Yeah.
do a bit more here. Like you're not. I don't know what you want. What you're doing. You know.
Tao Tao is going to go over and like pick up the two that like just try and grab two of the people who are currently scuffling to kind of end this scuffle. They get intercede. Tao Tao's a doer and doesn't like this. This scuffle is getting in the way of getting stuff done. So if it's shoving them over or picking them up or something to kind of just like, you know, break up this fight.
I mean, there isn't a fight.
Well, okay, break up the potential of fight, like
potential
separating
fight.
these two people. I'm
Okay.
separating them.
Okay. What, like a biker and a punk, just pulling them
Yeah.
apart? Okay,
Or like
sure.
you know, pushing the gang apart, like you know, moving them to redirect them to different areas of the bar. Whatever I need to do for those two things for that to be diffused.
It is outside the bar.
Yeah. I know that.
Okay. All right. Well, why don't we give you a guts roll to do that? I'll put it at -1 because kind of their blood's up, so you know they might get a bit feisty.
So my target is 9. I rolled a 3, so that's fine. I whether it's my large size or whatever that convinces them that it's not worth pursuing. Tao Tao into you know kind of puts themselves between the two gangs.
Okay, sure. Yeah, you thrust two of the main people apart. They kind of the punks certainly seem to kind of like very much you have become their new focus. And they start kind of yelling at you and spitting at you and sort of like gearing themselves up to maybe do something about it. The bikers are a bit more cautious, but certainly the one on the ground does not seem happy that you just threw him down. Yeah, you think you may not so much have split up this fight as now be about to have a fight with both of them.
These mortals do not scare Tao Tao.
Fair enough.
I'm going to approach the scuffle and say, hey, brothers, isn't it too beautiful a night for a fight?
Are you saying this to everyone?
Yes.
Okay. I guess maybe make a style roll at a -3.
I can do that. I'm also going to, before I do that, I'm going to try and use one of my celestial powers, which is Splendor. And test brains and spend 1 grit. I pass with the brains. So with Splendor, they all love you and you know it. Your celestial charisma melts pitiful mortal sense, +2 in all social tests.
Okay,
So
then it's a
at
-1, I guess.
1.
Yeah.
So style, so a target of 6. And I rolled a 4.
Okay. Well, between Tao Tao's intimidatory sort of stance and your celestially influenced peacemaking, the two groups do kind of back away from each other a bit. The punks are still kind of yelling things and gesturing with their flick knives, but they've definitely taken a few steps back. And one of the bikers kind of steps forward and says, I mean, I guess he's got a massive rambling beard. But who are you coming around our bar and telling us what to do and what not to do? Friend? He looks kind of confused that he's referred to you as his friend.
My name is Starbrother, and this is Tal Tal. And we are here to follow you as you show us the way.
What?
I just nod encouragingly.
I just want to hand over to Elias and Brett for anything that they want to be doing in this moment.
I think at the mention of the word friend, Elias will sort of look towards Brett and then start walking over to the person who was speaking. This is as clear a clue as I think we're going to get at the moment.
Sure.
I think Brett's still going to hang a bit further away rather than getting right up into it and keep an eye on things, but ready to kind of add some muscle, if things escalate. But happy to kind of let Starbrother take the lead here. And can I just say, there's something weirdly like reverse cult leader about the way that went down, like cult follower. Like, I will follow you. It was very. Just going to sit back and witness as and see assess what's happening here.
Fair enough. Yeah. The biker just kind of looks at the four of you and goes, and kind of looks over at the punk. So they're still kind of retreating further away and yelling like they'll get their own back, and you're just another bunch of stinking bikers and stuff like that as they kind of like move down the street a bit. And the one Taltal knockdown has kind of got up and is like looking at the one who seems to be most impressed with Starbrother in like some confusion, and just kind of like pulls on his arm and kind of mutters something to him. And the guy goes, "No, it's okay. They got good rides. They seem all right." Again, he's quite confused. "Look, thanks. I mean, your friend was a bit rough, but thanks for that, bro. Dumb punks are everywhere tonight. Oh, buy you a drink? Oh, I'll buy you all a drink."
I think we have a lot to do before the morning. We're looking for someone. Maybe someone not from round here, or from very round here, or a bit strange, or too normal.
I'm not. I mean, I'm only in town for a few days. We're delivering some stuff south of the border. But Jackie in there, she knows this town pretty good. So you don't want to drink?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. Well then, thanks. Yeah, if you want to find someone, Jackie's your girl. He turns around and wanders off kind of a few steps, and then except for his shoulder.
Taltal's happy to head through the door. Let's go find this Jackie.
Okay, are we all going in?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, as I head in, I might just ask, so what's all that about then?
Or what?
Whatever that was. That got something to do with what we need?
Satan's riot. It's your master's disorder, riotous disorder and chaos.
So what, we just follow them?
Well, they led us towards Jackie. I'm sure she'd be
Something about
happy
going
to help.
south of the border.
But the note also said the dazzling spectacle.
Well, let's speak to Jackie, see what she has to say, and then we can decide from there.
Okay. You head into Hog Heaven. It is, it's exactly what you think it is. There's pool. There's a jukebox blaring. Oh, let's say Motorhead. There are a lot of rather riotously behaving bikers. Maybe a couple of out-of-towners who've really stepped into the wrong neighborhood looking nervous at a table. And behind the bar, there is a striking-looking woman with just the biggest 80s rock perm you've ever seen. She seems to be kind of the life of the party, very friendly, sort of talking to a lot of people at the bar.
I'm gonna.
Anyone?
Yeah, I'm going to sit down at the bar and point to my clawed hands towards the tequila.
Okay. The woman kind of gives you a smile, plucks up the tequila, and kind of slides it along the bar towards you, saying, "You look like a bottle man."
That like I don't know whether the snort of Tal is confused as a laugh or not, but really that's up to what was the name? Is it Jackie? Was it or?
Yeah, Jackie was the name given to you. Yeah.
And I will pull from a pocket. I don't know, an assortment of forgotten currencies that are that might be worth something, and like place them on the bar.
I'm thinking like these are like Sumerian,
Yeah,
sort of like Akkadian, like little stone obols of
Yeah.
yeah.
And if there's any problem
Sure.
with that, I'll just like hang my again massive sword off the edge of the bar.
Sure.
But I'm sure that won't be a problem.
Well, Jackie kind of like picks up one of these like ancient sort of iron temple tokens and just kind of goes, "What is this, Canadian?" Is anyone else going to interact with Jackie as Tal is there downing a bottle of tequila, which definitely has at least one worm in it?
Yeah, I'll pull up a seat, like a stool next to Tal. And probably point to a random thing.
As in a drink? Or...
Yes.
You see my head briefly.
Jukebox.
Yeah, sure. She goes, "Hey, good choice," and plucks the. I mean, we're going for biker cliche here, so the Jack Daniels from the shelf behind her and starts pouring something for you. She kind of looks across all of you because you are, quite an odd seeming bunch, and says, "That's some pretty extreme leathers you've got there. What brings you here?"
We're looking for someone. We're sure we'll know them when we find them.
If you want any kind of like, you have very little idea other than what's been posted, but almost certainly an Archon would have drawn notice in some way, in that they're probably doing something awful almost all the time. So just if you wanted anything to narrow things down with in any way.
Is there like anyone trying to think of a really cool way to say this, and it's really hard because I spend most of my time trying not to sound super cheesy.
I spend most of my time trying not to be cool.
It's true. Hey, anyone like super important?
Important how? Like,
anyone who seems like they need an act of divine retribution inflicted upon them.
I mean, you might have just described the entire population of the city. There's all kinds of crazy in Sin City these days, baby. They say folks have been disappearing all along the strip. And there was trouble at Dante's Arcade the other night. Apparently some loco kid said his friend got eaten by a dinosaur. But when they went to look, all they found was a puddle of blood and a roll of quarters. Of course, if you want to know what's really going on, you could... yeah, never mind.
Please, go on.
Can you give me a style roll, please? She's
can.
friendly enough. Take a +1.
I'll have +2 because my...
You've earned some appreciation for her because your companion is like mainlining tequila.
That is a 5, which is a success.
Well, there's always the voice. They say he runs the cabal around these parts, if you believe in that kind of thing. Crazy New World Order Illuminati shit. If you want desert crazy, he's guaranteed to know. You can usually find him at a kinky leather fuck club downtown called Plastic Dreams. But those types are liable to ask you for your firstborn before they give you a lick of help. Don't say I didn't warn you. Elias, can you give me a brains roll and take your speciality bonus on it, please? Because this is the kind of thing you're liable to know about.
Yes, so my brains is 8.
So it's 10 for the purposes of this, at least, right? Don't you get a +2 on?
I think it's just a +1. Ace, +1, yes.
Oh, +1, okay. So it's
Yeah.
a 9 you're rolling against, which is pretty good.
And I roll a 5, so that is a success.
Yeah. So the Cabal, Elias, are witches and warlocks who are deeply involved in politics and the world of entertainment. They're by far the most important cult of Western society on Earth. It's entirely likely that this presumably mortal Jackie doesn't is just saying the word because it's things people talk about in conspiracies or whatever. She's unlikely to know exactly that they do exist and what they do, but the word certainly catches your attention.
Yeah. That I might that name rings a bell. We should perhaps pay them a visit.
Hey, it's your funeral. But I'll tell you this, if there's something going on here, it's a bit weird that's brought you into town, the voice will know about it.
And so shall we. Thank you.
There is a noise near the door of the biker bar of some... I'm trying to get around. I feel I've used the term scuffling too much already. There's a consternation. There's some kind of kerfuffle. There is a kerfuffle, and it's happening near the door of Hog Heaven.
Is it... Tartal will be interested in a fight.
Sure, absolutely. Well, it becomes quite clear quite quickly that it's not so much a fight as much as it is one of the punks from earlier has dashed into the front of Hog Heaven, screaming at top speed, beating at their chest maniacally, and sort of howling in a very unsettling fashion. It's worth noting they have something electronic strapped to their chest with a timer on it that's counting down.
Tautau will want to charge this person to push them back out of the bar, potentially head first, with just a massive head.
Yeah. You're charging.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right alongside. Yeah.
Sure,
Same instinct.
absolutely. Well, let's go into combat, shall we? So the first thing you do is each player tests brains. If you're
Fantastic.
successful, you act before enemies. And then I decide turn order outside of that parameter.
I am not successful.
I am successful. I got 8 against 8.
Okay, how about Elias?
I got 5 against 8. I presume you don't get critical successes on initiative rolls.
I shouldn't imagine. I don't think so. Oh, sorry. Did you get a critical?
No, but Inga did.
Inga would have done.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? I would have said, that'll determine what order. Like a critical will definitely go first. But I was actually going to say Inga will go first anyway, because it feels to me more appropriate that like the survival combat special forces guy goes first in this situation before the spooky plague doctor, right? So yeah, Brett, it's your action.
Yeah, that's same instinct as what Justin said. Was going to charge to just, tackle him right straight out the door.
Sure, absolutely. Does anyone have any ranged weapons? This is just a question for this, but also for later. I assume, Brett, you have like a gun or something.
Yeah.
I was considering throwing the bottle, but that might not. That's a situational one.
Sure. But okay, Brett, if you are running forwards to kind of do this, are you doing this with any kind of like weapon of any kind? Or you're literally just like barreling the guy back out the front doors?
I was thinking just to barrel him back out the front doors. I mean, yeah.
Sure. So what I'll need you to do then is roll guts, please. I don't think. Oh, it'll be modified by their level, which is 1. So it'll be a guts at a -1, please.
So I rolled an 8 against my what would be an 8, but at the -1 it would be 7, so it's just over now.
I mean, you could.
Oh, I might push. Yeah.
Yeah, if you spend a point of grit, you could re-roll.
I think I'm going to spend a point of grit. It's just one of the dice that I re-roll, isn't it?
Yes. Which is actually better, really.
Yeah. Which makes it a 2, which just means it's a 6 against the 7. So that is a success.
Absolutely. So, what is your highest rolled die there that you rolled?
4.
And I'm going to say you're not using a weapon, so you don't have a weapon modifier. And they're wearing kind of studded leather straps and vests that are like the equivalent of armor 1. So I'm going to say that this punk has now taken, so to explain that, damage is the highest die you rolled, adding your weapon modifier, which is nothing, and taking away their armor, which is 1. So in other words, the punk just took 3 damage. Okay. And that's how it works. We'll also find as we go later, by the way, folks, that in Hell Knight, players make all the rolls. So instead of, I don't roll for them to be hit, they roll to dodge every time something comes at them. And that's basically it. Okay. Yeah, you slam into this guy and he goes kind of like staggering out of, the doors are like, they're like swing doors, right? Like saloon doors. And he goes like staggering out of the back. He's still on like a sort of wooden platform at the front of it, like a step down to the car park, or the bike park, I suppose, really, technically, and is kind of still wailing, but in a kind of way, because you've, tackled him out there. Are you tackling with him, or pushing? You know?
I was tackling with, tackling with.
Okay.
I'm also moving on out.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm a revenant. If I die, I come back.
That's true. You do come back. Although I believe you're reborn in hell, so you might take a couple of scenes to join us.
Might be a bit tricky, but
it's
slightly less, attached to this body, maybe.
Yeah. Out of the corner of your eye, over on your hell ride, you can see the apocalyptic iguana kind of going, alarmed. Alarmed iguana. Steve, I believe you were next.
Yes. Did I catch a glimpse of the remaining time on the timer before Brett?
Oh, that's a good question, isn't it? I'm going to roll a d10.
In seconds?
Yes.
Fuck.
9.
How long's a round?
Let's say, I don't know, 5. 5 seconds.
God. Okay. Well, in that case, I've probably got time to. So Elias, his weapon is a chain and hook. But I don't really want to bring this thing towards me. So perhaps, maybe. Oh God! I think I will activate Shadow Form first of all. Oh, this is an action, isn't it? Is this a thing that I can do?
Casting is an action.
Okay, I won't do that then because I don't think I've got time. I will rush to the door and I will try and. So this thing is embedded in his chest, or sort of.
I mean, you can't really tell. It's certainly strapped to him.
Okay. I'll just try to make an attempt to sort of swing my chain around, hook this thing, and then sort of flick it off into, somewhere else. Just try to knock it away, basically. Aiming for the device rather than him.
Oh, you're trying to get the device off his body?
Yes.
Okay.
It depends on how firmly it's attached. There might be some collateral.
Yeah, sure. I think that's tough, but let's see what the dice say.
I mean, if you've just ridden out of hell, I think this is the kind of cool shit that you should be doing.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I'm gonna say this is a style roll.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and it's going to be minus. What's your hook and chain advantage?
Hook and chain. That it's +1 piercing damage.
Oh, but that's damage, and that's not what we're after here. Okay. Right. Just make a style roll at -3.
Sure. Okay. So my
that's...
style is 7. No, I roll a 7. So
this seems like the kind of thing that Ace, the talent, would apply to, right? This is part of your things that you're good at.
No, I mean, things that he's good at isn't pulling bombs off people with a hook and chain.
No.
It's it's the occult. It's like I think we decided it's the what you know stuff, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So it applies for determining who an Illuminati cult might be, but not dragging bombs off punks with a hook and chain.
It was a long shot.
It was a long shot, but it was worth a go. You could have rolled a 2 and a 2. It doesn't happen. But interesting. Let's be interesting about this. If that had been a guts roll at a -1, would you have succeeded? No, never mind then. Because I was just going to give you some free that you'd actually hooked. You'd hurt them, but never mind. Okay, it's their turn then. And what they're going to do is they're going to sort of desperately scrabble at what's strapped to their chest, and at the same time they're going to grip feverishly onto Brett Jackson. So Brett, I'm assuming you don't want to be held on.
Did you say grip? I thought you said drip, and I was like, what?
No. No.
I was like,
No,
he's sweating that much and he's dripping feverishly onto me? What?
No. No, nothing as horrible as that. Instead, he's just, trying to hold on to you until the bomb goes off. So I'm assuming you don't want him to do this.
No, not really.
Yeah. In that case, could you roll style, please?
That was a 6, which I'm pretty sure is a fail for me. Yeah, that's a failure. 6 against my 5.
Okay. Is there any, do you want to spend grit on it or anything like that?
I was a 3 and a 3. I don't think it's worth re-rolling a die.
That's fair.
Hang on.
That's fair. It would be quite challenging to make if you haven't got a low number.
Yeah, style is my worst, and I've not got a decent one to re-roll. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna have to leave it.
Fair enough. Okay, let's go. Tal was pawing at the ground to go, so I think we'll have Tal up next. I think that makes sense.
Do I have time to? Well, do I have time to tear Brett Jackson from this assailant and maybe duck inside the door of the thing? Then can that be my thing to kind of, given that Brett wasn't able to separate themselves?
I would make a slight change to that in that, I don't think you can run and then grab and run back. Does that make sense?
Sure,
but I think you could run and just trying to drag.
Try and drag and roll them away from the.
Yeah. I think you could definitely do that for sure. Yeah.
Don't mind style or guts. Either one sounds like it could be argued.
I think it's a guts. I think it's a guts roll, which probably suits you fine.
Yes.
And you know what? I think running and barreling into someone in a straight line is probably something you're very good at. So I'm going to give you a +1 for it.
Okay, cool. So I needed to get. I rolled a 7. I needed to get 10 with a +1, so that's a pass. And
yeah, absolutely.
Brett grabs on and yanks off and rolls away.
What was your highest
6
roll there? 6. Okay. So basically, Brett, you're torn off this guy by what feels like a freight train impacting into your side. And you're rolling on the ground and tumbling around next, kind of beyond a few bikes that are parked up there. John, Star Brother, what are you doing, if anything?
I feel like there's not really much I can do outside other than throw myself further into the fray. So I think I'm going to...
The superior tactical mind of the angel.
I was going to jump over the bar and take cover.
Yes, the superior tactical minds of the angel.
Excellent. Love it. Yeah. Sure, absolutely. You don't need to roll to do that. So yeah, you are absolutely fine. There we go. Okay, we are gonna do another round of this because it's gonna be a round. The number on the chest is down to 4 now. So everyone roll brains again. I don't think the book says whether you do initiative every round or not, but I'd assume you do, given that it's a relatively easy process.
Success. Me.
Nice.
Success.
Is that against brains?
Was it?
Mm-hmm. It's always against brains.
Oh, cool. Success.
Okay, well, there we go then. I think Elias, as the only one outside who isn't rolling around on the ground in dust and gravel, is probably the person to go first.
Okay. So we have Tal and Brett some distance away from the chap with the bomb. Can you attack then move? Is that fine?
Yeah.
Then I'll try to do the same thing. Just try to, and then so swipe at the bomb, and then dive inside.
Sure,
That's,
absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so give me that style roll at -3, please, because it ain't gonna get any better.
Yeah, there's nothing else I can. No, I rolled a 9, so
it wouldn't have done a guts
No,
hit either.
no.
No. Okay. Yeah, your hook and chain is just like wildly flying. I mean, he looks confused. So there's definitely that going for it. And then did you say you're ducking back inside Hog Heaven?
Yes, I might. As much as it's not very seemly to dive over bars for cover, but I can see
Sure.
the advantage of not being blasted to oblivion. So
Absolutely. Let's next go. I think like you're both on the floor, but Tal knew that was coming. So I think Tal goes next in this scenario.
So I've got my Zweihander, which has reach. So can I make a distant attack and maybe just try and slash out from the ground or something or whatever?
Yeah, I think you can get up and take a slash at this guy. I think in doing so, you're moving closer to the explosive device, but you absolutely can do that.
Yeah. I mean, I have to go by the Slayer's motto, which is to fearlessly engage and pursue epic violence. So
No,
I can't.
absolutely. Hey,
I would
I'm
be
with
doing. There's nothing.
I'm
I can
right
do
there
about
with
that.
you. Right there with you. Give me a guts roll with a -1, please.
Cool. If I get the say, does my
what does that long reach do? Does that add?
it just
something
means
to-
+1 initiative. So all it says is so I think that didn't actually matter that much. But I wondered if it would. You might think of some things it could do. So if you roll the same as what your target is, then my target. So if it's -1, then my target. So I go down from 9 to 8, and I rolled an 8.
Correct.
So is that pass or fail?
That is a pass and a critical.
Fantastic.
So there we go. So let's take a look at our first critical of the. The first thing it does is a roll on the critical hit table. So I will roll through to that. It will be slashing. And why don't you give me a D6 roll, please?
5.
5.
Oh yeah. This thing's got +2 damage. Not that it matters.
That's not going to matter. I don't think. Well, no. To be fair, I think only like some of them are like auto kills, and this one isn't an auto kill. But your Zweihander arcs out across above some bikes. The punk's hand goes flying off from the stump of their arm. The hand flies over the top of the saloon doors and kind of slaps a biker in the face, leaving a big bloody print before it drops to the ground. And now let's calculate the damage, shall we? So what was the highest die you rolled?
I rolled a 3 and a 5, I think.
So that will be a 5. And what's the extra damage from the
+2
Zweihander? It's only a +2.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't seem to make any sense. Is that because it says +2 in like the bit where you get the place where you get it? +2, It just doesn't make sense given the description of different weapons. But
I think like a warhammer gives you like the biggest melee weapons like a +3, so it's like
sledgehammers, battle axes, but a Zweihander is about as big as a melee weapon gets. But
I suppose maybe because it has reach, it's like
so that's like the bonus of it. Fine, yeah. Either way, you did 7 damage altogether, right? Moderated by their thing, leaves them still nowhere near enough, and they collapse back onto the gravel of the parking lot. thrashing around a little bit, but not too much, as blood just pours from the stump of their hand, or where their hand was.
I made it clear that I let out a huge bellow while I did that, right?
You
know,
didn't,
it's a
but
kind of
now we
like,
know. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, they're not doing anything else towards you or ever again. But, however, of course, that doesn't really solve the problem of the bomb that's about to explode. Brett Jackson.
So the first thing I need to do is test brains to prevent me from being possessed by a relentless desire to consume human blood, to resist the urge. Seeing as someone's just sprayed a whole load of it right in my face now.
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we've all been there, Brett.
Fortunately, I rolled a 3 against 8, so
That's good.
success.
That's good. Yeah.
So I resist that urge. So what I was going to do was like just shoot this guy in the leg and run off, so he can head back into people. But does he look like he's already pretty incapacitated and unlikely to get moving again?
He is right on that wonderful tipping edge of oblivion right now.
Awesome.
He's alive enough that he's going to feel the explosion.
Great, perfect. Yeah, I will leg it. Is Tal still you didn't run, did you?
I'm dangerously close.
All right, I'm just going to try and drag Tal. I'm going to undo.
We have a dragging
reverse image.
A drag off.
Yeah.
A drag off. Yeah. Okay, give me a guts roll, and I'm going to give it. Here's the thing. And this is just nerdy. I think Tal is slightly unbalanced because he's just taken a big swipe with his Zweihander, but he's also really fucking big. So take a -1 on the guts roll. I think that's a nice balance.
As a success.
Hey, Tal, you feel yourself. Ah!
Yeah, fall backwards.
Although it won't be, will it? It'll be backwards, kind of yanked backwards.
Yeah. It will be exactly that.
Both of you are still a lot closer than Elias and Starbrother, but you're definitely further away. Starbrother, is your action to do this?
My action, unless Jackie has run away because she has assisted us on our wonderful duty to pull her down and cover her with my body.
Okay, I'm not going to ask for a roll for that, but she will go, "Hey!"
Seems like an angelic thing to do.
Strange man dragging her down behind the bar. Okay. Well, the bomb's going off. I don't think it's close enough to affect Starbrother or Elias, but I will ask Brett and Tal to make a dodge roll, please. So that will be a style roll. It's going to be a. Oh God! It's you taking damage is slightly Just make a style roll, please.
I'm going to use grit to re-roll one of mine.
Sure.
I'm not going to because
which made it worse.
Yeah.
I had a 5 and a 2, and then the 5 became a 6. So.
Sure. I've got a 6 and a 5, and I've not got very good style, so I'm like.
So both of you have failed then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Roll style or blow to avoid damage.
The 8 thing is only if it's a success, isn't it? Like it's not 8
for criticals.
Correct. Yeah. So player characters take damage as their total dodge roll minus their style. Then add weapon modifier. What?
Yeah, what's the weapon modifier for a bomb?
Well, I was going to have it as from where you are a +3.
Okay.
But also that's like PCs take damage as their total dodge roll minus their style.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Is that presumably that's only if they succeed?
I presume so. Yeah.
On the dodge roll.
Well, no, because it's a fail.
So it's the difference.
I rolled an 8 on my dodge roll. My style's a 5, so it was a fail. So 8 minus 5 is 3. So I take 3 damage plus the modifier bumps it up to 6, right?
Okay,
That's
I
not
definitely. If now I know how damage works,
Right.
I actually spend a point of
Okay.
grit to reroll this 6, so I don't get completely mullered.
That's
I can survive it, but like, yeah.
That's kind of insane. Yeah, okay, I get it. Total dodge roll minus their style and add weapon modifier. Okay, I get it now. I get it, and because I now get it and don't have to balance the damage accordingly, I'm going to say it's a +2 that the bomb is doing. So,
Do you mind if I spend a point of grit to reroll that dodge? Because I now understand how
no,
damage works.
go for it.
It's like it will improve things a lot, hopefully. Yes. Okay. Actually, I rolled a 1, so actually it does bring it down below my dodge thing, so I would not take damage, which I'm happy about.
So how is the damage Brett is taking looking?
That means I could take 5 total. I had HP of 8, so okay so far.
Do you have any armor?
No.
Okay. Yeah. So the explosion detonates loudly across the parking lot of Hog Heaven, sending both of you reeling backwards. Maybe Brett a little more than Taltal, because Taltal has a certain amount of huge inertia. Yeah, Brett, you seem to have been exploded a bit. You are burnt, and there are several bits of blistered shards of motorbike chassis emerging from your chest.
Ugh.
Oh,
I don't. How does first aid work for demons? Like, I don't know.
you know, the game doesn't really have any rules for regaining HP other than specific like healing.
I'm just gonna
like
pull
powers?
some stuff out, right? Like, or I basically, if I just pull out some things that are sticking out of me, I'm not gonna do myself more damage, am I? Like,
No,
if not,
no,
I'll just
no.
yank some stuff out, and if I'm bloody,
No,
I'm bloody. So be it.
That's absolutely fine.
I think Taltal will probably, when Brett has done that, kind of yank Brett to his feet and dust him off a bit, and then kind of like, you know, heavily slap him on the shoulder and then head back to the bar.
Yeah. Sure. In the bar, Jackie kind of stands up and looks out and goes, "Holy shit." I guess those punks really are up for a fight tonight. Okay. That's fine. I'm fine, you know.
Of course you are.
I
Well,
might pick
we're
up
probably
the
gonna
remainder
be-
of that tequila.
Sure. Well, look, the drinks are on the house, clearly. But we're probably going to close up here in a short while. So why don't you guys head off? And yeah, like I say, just, you know, be careful if you go to Plastic Dreams.
We'll, nod and head outside, see what state Brett and Taltal are in, and
One
perhaps
of them's
lead them.
fine.
Perhaps lead. Well, I know. Yeah, Brett seems to require attention, so I will call over Night Stalker and Brett. You seem to be injured. Do you require some healing?
I wouldn't mind something that helped close these up. Sure, yeah.
Then Night Stalker might be able to assist you. And yes, my Hell Ride is kind of handy at healing damage. A mobile medical unit and an exemplary surgeon. Anyone can spend grit and test brains to heal damage equal to the highest rolled dice if you wish to.
So is that one that I would roll then?
I presume so.
Yeah. So
Yes,
you need to spend a grit and roll brains.
Okay, and I'm on -1 on my actions at the moment because I'm under half my HP.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a brains you said I'm rolling.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fail. I've
Have you got any grit left?
got 1 grit left. I'm going to re-roll it. I rolled a 6. One of those is a 6. So
Okay.
Like-
Yeah.
that's probably worth re-rolling it. But then I'm out of grit. So let's do it. And that's a 1. So there we go.
There we go. So you regain. What was it, Steve? You regain health.
Heal damage equal to the highest rolled dice. So I guess if you rolled a 6,
Well, I re-rolled the 6 to turn
Oh,
into
you
a 1
re-rolled
to
the
make it a
6.
success. So
Okay.
then
Oh,
it's a
damn it.
3. Was my other dice. So I heal 3 then, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. Steve, I feel like I need to know what this looks like when Night Stalker does this. So why don't you?
Well, I suspect that sort of the side of the Hell Ride, or probably the other side, yes, will sort of open up like a ribs sort of opening wide, and then a myriad of tendrils and sharp bladed sort of implements will whip out and prod and poke, and obviously no form of pain relief, but will stitch you up with some form of thread.
Nice.
The pain relief was what the tequila was for. So good.
That's fair.
Great. I also don't think that the rules contain any particular thing on how to regain grit during a session. So I think that might be you out of grit now.
You can get grit from auspices. So if our arch on handlers want to contact us, then that can be a thing that regains grit.
Sure.
Some edges
Absolutely.
also lead to grit recovery.
Right.
Usually via bad things happening.
Cool.
Fair enough.
Tao's going to get back on his motorbike and rev more. I don't know if we know the way to Plastic Dreams, but it seems like...
I'm not going to ask people for
Yeah.
like navigation, right? That seems out of the thing of it. So just to review what we have, what we do know, though, just because quite dramatic things happened there. Just to reiterate what Jackie said, folks have been disappearing all along the strip. Some kid at Dante's Arcade apparently got eaten by a dinosaur. And yes, there's someone called the Voice, who is part of the cabal at what sounds like a BDSM club called Plastic Dreams, and he might be able to help you for a price. So there we go. But is the group general intent? Certainly sounds like Tal wants to go speak to the Voice. How about other people?
Well, I would certainly be interested. Although, dazzling spectacle that could well be that arcade. Yes, I've not seen one myself, but I believe them to be quite gregarious in nature. Still, I would always enjoy seeing what this cabal have to say for themselves.
I think Tao rolled his shoulders in a kind of like arcade, Voice, a cabal, whatever. Let's ride. Like it's the only kind of thing.
Always charging forwards. How about Starbrother and Brett?
Well, get on the bike.
But I think the arcade overall does sound like a good idea. To like that does sound like the clue. So I'd be happy to go there too.
Star Brothers of the opinion that all of creation is a dazzling spectacle when viewed through the correct lens. But these three don't seem to think so. So he'll follow along. Tal leading the way.
If that is expressed out loud, the largest
yes, very
eye rolls.
definitely.
your GM maybe need a little more
Yeah.
direct.
Yeah.
Which one are we going to?
Let's do
to
the arcade. I think.
Oh.
I think the arcade does sound
See,
like.
and this
It
is
has
why I'm
spectral
asking,
lights.
because
Yes.
one person's gone, oh, the arcade, and the other person's gone, oh, wait, what? As a
Appreciate it.
group, why don't we just vote for it? Or because I can't imagine you guys having a serious discussion about this.
Yeah.
So, what?
I think we need more information. I think we'll find the Archon at the arcade, but we don't know anything about them just yet, I don't think. So,
So it
my
sounds
vote
like
would be-
Elias and Starbrother for going to see The Voice, right? Tal's maybe
I
more for the
thought-
arcade.
Yeah, I thought we were going to The Voice. Yeah.
Right.
Cool. Let's go.
Okay. Voice it is then. Okay. Then you burn rubber away from Hog Heaven and towards downtown and Plastic Dreams. And on that note, let's take a little break. We'll go away for about 10 minutes, folks, and then we'll be back to have more Hell Night. More Hell Night. There we go. We'll see you in a minute.
I just dropped a dice.
Oh no! Well, we'll deal with that complication when we come. Hell Knight has a rule that a complication happens if someone drops a die. So we'll deal with that when we come back.
1 second later, Inga.
That gives me 10 minutes to think about what I'm going to do. So there we go. See you in 10 minutes, folks.